back to the topic that potentially could be too hot to handle. Let's ask Congressman Ed Royce, a Republican from California, and Martin Frost, once again, a former Democratic congressman from Texas, also a Fox News contributor, as we continue this debate. Congressman Royce, why don't you, first of all, explain to us why people are so angry and what Republicans want at the end of all of this?
Well, I don't think it's Republicans that are so angry. I think it's independents, Democrats, and Republicans. At the town hall meeting I held, I had people from every political party. A local shop steward who's a Teamster leader explained his adamant opposition to this. Many workers explained their opposition, saying that they were concerned that logically, if there's a federal option for health care, then what's going to happen is that the employer is going to transfer them out of their current insurance onto the federal option. This is something that anybody who's writing about health care right now is saying. They wish the president would be straightforward on this, because the reality is that you are going to have as much as 70% of those who currently have a policy with, with the employer potentially will end up in the public option. This is what people are opposed to. They're also concerned about the spending. They brought their children, many of them, and many identified themselves as Democrats or independents in the audience. So I think it's across the spectrum. They're angry because they don't feel they had any input into this debate.
Right.
Many told me that they had called. One fellow said, he was an independent. He said, I called my senator's office 8 times. I've never gotten a call back. They want to be heard on this.
Well, okay, but it seems that these town hall meetings are a bit counterproductive. I mean, when you have a room full of really angry people shouting and yelling, I'm not really sure the message is getting across. And Congress was given basically an August recess to figure this out. And at this point, it doesn't seem like they've figured it out, and if anything, it doesn't seem to be making any movement. I mean, Congressman Frost, what's the solution? Because they're supposed to figure this out come September.
Well, I would hope that most members of Congress and the Senate will spend a good bit of this time in August listening to their constituents, and I would hope that people would calm down a little bit and go to these meetings so that you can have the kind of discussion that Ed's described. Ed, it doesn't sound like you had people screaming and hollering during your session. It sounds like they actually had a legitimate point of view. I don't know that I would agree with everything that they had to say, but at least they have the right to say it. And something is fundamentally wrong here if citizens feel that they can go to a public meeting and shout down the people they don't agree with. That's not good for our society, and I would hope in the next couple of weeks that this whole thing calms down. As I said, I don't know how long Ed's meeting was, but this is the type of thing, maybe you want to have a 2- or 3-hour town hall meeting, not just a 45-minute or an hour meeting, so people feel like they have enough time to express their views. Maybe you want to, at the beginning, or maybe you want to announce that you'll have a sign-in sheet. Everybody gets to sign in. They get called in the order that they signed in. There are ways to do this so you can have a civil debate. What's gone on in the last week is not good for democracy, and it's not good for either the Democrats or the Republicans.
Congressman Royce, I want you to react to Sarah Palin's comments that she made on Facebook. I'm sure you've heard about them. And she wrote on her Facebook page, "The America I know and love is not one in which my parents or my baby with Down syndrome will have to stand in front of Obama's death panel so his bureaucrats can decide based on a subjective judgment of their level of productivity in society whether they are worthy of health care. Such a system is downright evil." I mean, these are very strong words from a former Republican governor. It doesn't, I don't know, I think a lot of people are concerned that it's making the GOP look bad.
Well, listen, here's the concern I heard from my constituents, and that's what I'll speak to. They're worried about the cancer survival rates, for example, in the UK, where you have a national health board. Maybe here for prostate cancer it's 90%, and there it's 57%. This affects people's lives. And when people's own lives are being affected and they feel they're not being heard, they will lash out. May I suggest for my colleagues, first, hold the town meetings. The reason so many people are angry is because they call into the senator's office or House member's office and they're not being listened to, or nobody's taking the call, or nobody's returning their call. Second, when you do hold a town meeting, go to the senior population first. That will calm it down a little bit. You just explain that. We're going to hear from our seniors here in the audience first. Tempers will come down. Tell them you're going to stay long enough to hear from everybody. People are just afraid that they are not going to be listened to, and so there's a sense of desperation because they know how few senators and House members actually are holding these town meetings. So lastly, let's encourage these forums and then discuss the information, have a free-flow debate going on. But I really think it's just concern they're not going to be heard.
All right, Congressman.
But crazy extreme statements like Sarah Palin's making don't help this debate at all.
That was my question. All right. Well, thanks for answering it. Congressman Royce and Frost, thank you very, very much for talking to us.
Thank you.
Only to be countered by Nancy Pelosi.